Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Imagine you're living with your parents, and then suddenly you have a great idea. An idea that is so good that Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook himself, comes to your home and offers you $3 billion in cash to buy it right then. But the idea is so amazingly great that you refuse that $3 billion. What could that idea be? It started as a simple idea from 3 students. These students were Evan Spiegel, Bobby Murphy, and Reggie Brown at Stanford University. What do you think it was? Well, let's find out. Chapter 1. College starts at Stanford. Stanford University in California is a very big school. It is sunny and warm there. In 2010, many young people started college at Stanford. They were excited and maybe a little nervous. One of these students was Evan Spiegel. He was from Los Angeles, a city in California too. When students start at Stanford, they can join groups called fraternities. Fraternities are like clubs for boys. Older students in the fraternity want new students to join. This is called rush. During rush, new students go to parties at the fraternity houses. They meet the older students called brothers. The brothers decide if they like the new students and if they want them to join. Evan and his new friend Stuart wanted to join a fraternity called Kappa Sigma. Kappa Sigma was known for working hard at school but also having a lot of fun. They had parties and events all the time. To join Kappa Sigma, new students had to do things to impress the older brothers during rush. One night during rush, there was a party at the Kappa Sigma house. It was in April 2010. Many new students were there, trying to talk to the brothers and look cool. The brothers wore yellow shirts. Evan was there, watching everything. He was a sophomore, so he was already a brother in Kappa Sigma. He was helping to decide who could join. Some new students were doing silly things to get attention. One event was a tricycle race. Students would ride small tricycles over a ramp. It was supposed to be funny and show they were fun people. Sam, another new student, had a different idea. He and Stuart found a shopping cart, like you use at the grocery store. Sam was big and strong. He played football for Stanford. Stuart was smaller and a little nervous. They wanted to do something that no one else was doing to get the brothers' attention. Sam pushed Stuart in the shopping cart. They ran very fast. Sam was sprinting. Stuart was holding on tight inside the cart. Other students were riding tricycles, but Sam and Stuart had a shopping cart. It was different. It was crazy. The brothers standing outside the Kappa Sigma house saw them. They started to cheer. They thought it was funny and very strange. They wondered, where did they get a shopping cart? Sam pushed the cart towards a ramp made of wood. The ramp was for the tricycles, but Sam wanted to use it for the shopping cart. Stuart was scared. He was going very fast in a shopping cart pushed by a football player. Sam pushed the cart up the ramp. But the ramp was not strong enough for the shopping cart. It broke. The shopping cart did not fly into the air like they planned. It hit the ground hard. Stuart flew out of the cart and fell onto the street. Everyone watching stopped cheering. It was quiet for a moment. Then Stuart stood up. He was hurt, but he smiled. He put his hands in the air like he was a winner. The older brothers started cheering again, even louder this time. They were very impressed. They thought Stuart was very brave and funny. They decided they wanted Stuart in Kappa Sigma. Evan watched all of this from the crowd. He was drinking beer and smiling. He was tall and thin. He had short brown hair. He often wore tank tops and shorts to parties. As a sophomore brother, he was important in rush. He was thinking about which new students would be good for Kappa Sigma. He thought Stuart was interesting. He knew this night was important. It was all part of his Evan Spiegel production. Chapter 2. College Friends. Evan Spiegel started college at Stanford University. It was a new place for him. He lived in a building called Donner Hall. Donner Hall was for new students, called freshmen. In Donner Hall, Evan met a student named Reggie Brown. Reggie lived in a room across the hall. Evan and Reggie became friends very quickly. They liked to do the same things. They both liked to party and have fun. That year, Donner Hall was a very social place. It was not always quiet. This was because Evan and Reggie liked to have parties in their dorm rooms. It was not very common for freshmen to have parties. But Evan and Reggie did not mind. Their parties were popular. Evan had a lot of vodka and Red Bull. He got it because he worked for Red Bull. He gave away free Red Bull at the parties. Many students came to Evan and Reggie's parties. Evan was different from many freshmen. Most freshmen did not have a car. They were getting used to life without their parents. But Evan had a car. He drove a big Cadillac Escalade. This car was very impressive to other freshmen. Evan made more friends at Stanford. He also started dating a student named Lily. Lily was studying to be a doctor. Lily was a good influence on Evan. She was patient and kind. She understood Evan's crazy ideas. They had a lot of fun together. They went to fraternity parties. They also went on adventures, just the two of them. One time, they went to Cabo San Lucas in Mexico for spring break. It was a fun trip. Evan was also creative. He liked to design things. He designed tank tops for his friends in Donner Hall. He knew someone who owned a printing shop. He could get good prices and make shirts quickly. Evan made a tank top that looked like the Stanford athletes' shirts. It said Stanford, but instead of a sport, it said hustling. It was funny and cool. One day, a friend had an idea for a new tank top. He said, "Sun's out, guns out." Evan liked the idea. He made a Google document and sent it to everyone in Donner Hall. People could order the "Sun's out, guns out" tank top. By Friday, everyone who ordered one could wear their new shirt. By spring, Evan was known as the party kid from LA. He liked to throw big parties. He was becoming popular on campus. Reggie and their friend Will decided to join a fraternity with Evan. They wanted to join Kappa Sigma. Kappa Sigma was known for working hard and playing hard. The brothers did well in school, but they also liked to drink and have fun. They had big theme parties. It seemed like a good fit for Evan, Reggie, and Will. They decided to rush Kappa Sigma in the spring. Chapter 3. Future Freshmen. A Website Idea. After the fun of fraternity rush, life at Stanford went back to normal for Evan and his friends. But Evan was not like most students. He didn't just want to study and go to class. He wanted to create something new, something big. He still thought about starting his own company. One day, Evan had a new idea. He talked to his friend Bobby Murphy about it. Bobby was good at computers and coding. Evan said, "I have an idea for a website. It will be for students in high school." Evan explained his idea. "It's hard for high school students to find information about colleges," he said. "They have to look at many different websites. It takes a lot of time." Bobby listened. Evan continued, "Our website will have information about many colleges in one place. Students can put in their grades and what they like. Then, the website will tell them which colleges might be good for them." Bobby thought about it. It sounded useful. Evan was excited. "It will be great. Parents and school counselors will pay to use it. It could be a big business," he said. They decided to call the website Future Freshmen. Bobby agreed to help Evan. Bobby was good at the technical side, building websites and making them work. Evan was good at ideas and getting people excited. But they had a problem. They needed to get a lot of information about colleges onto the website. It was a lot of work. They needed to find out things like how many students went to each college, where the college was, and if they had fraternities and sororities. Evan had an idea. He was still involved with the Kappa Sigma fraternity. He knew the new members, the pledges, always had to do tasks for the older members. Maybe the pledges could help. Evan went to see the new fraternity pledges. He told them about his new website idea, Future Freshmen. He said, This website will help high school students find the right college. It will be very important. Then, Evan asked for their help. For your fraternity task, I want you to help me get information for future freshmen, he said. He gave each pledge a list of 25 colleges. You need to find information about these colleges and put it in this spreadsheet. The pledges looked at each other. Some were confused. Some were not happy. One pledge, Stewart said, "Are you serious? We have our own homework to do." Some pledges thought it was a bad idea. They thought Evan was just using them to do work for his website. It was not a normal fraternity task. They had to do their own schoolwork and other fraternity tasks too. But some pledges were friends with Evan. They looked up to him. They thought future freshmen sounded like a good idea. They started to work on the task. The pledges spent hours finding information about colleges. It was boring work. They had to look at many college websites and type information into a computer. Not all of them finished the work. After a few weeks, future freshman was ready. Evan showed the website to the pledges who helped. It looked professional. It had a nice design and a logo with FF for future freshmen. It had a lot of information about many colleges. Evan and Bobby were ready to launch the website. They thought it would be very popular. But there was a problem. When Evan and Bobby asked their younger brothers and sisters if they would use future freshmen to find colleges, they said no. They didn't think it was very helpful. Evan and Bobby realized that future freshmen was not a good idea. High school students didn't want to use it. They closed down the website. It was another failed idea for Evan. But Evan learned something important from future freshmen. He learned that to make a successful company, he needed a really new and different idea. He needed to make something that no one else was making. He needed to be original to be successful. He didn't give up. He kept thinking about new ideas. He knew one day he would find the right one. Chapter 4. $1 Million Idea. Disappearing Photos. One night, Reggie was relaxing in his room at Stanford. He was with his friends, David and Zach. They were talking about parties and girls. Reggie was thinking about something. He smoked and thought. Then he had an idea. "I wish photos could disappear," Reggie said suddenly. David and Zach laughed. They thought it was a funny idea. But Reggie was serious. He thought about it more. He realized it could be a very good idea. Imagine, you could send a photo to someone, and then it would vanish. No one could keep it forever. This was new. This was different. Reggie got very excited. He jumped up. He ran to find Evan. It was Reggie's friend from the fraternity. Reggie knew Evan was good at making things happen. Reggie found Evan in his room. "Dude, I have an awesome idea," Reggie said, bursting into Evan's room. Evan looked up. He saw Reggie was very excited. "What is it?" Evan asked. Reggie told Evan about his idea for disappearing photos. He explained how it would work. You send a picture, and after a short time, poof, it's gone. Evan listened carefully. As Reggie talked, Evan's eyes got bigger. He started to smile. He understood right away. This idea was special. When Reggie finished, Evan was very excited too. "That's $1 million idea," Evan exclaimed. Reggie felt happy. Evan liked his idea. Evan understood it. Evan could see the potential. They started talking more about it. They thought about why people would want this app. They talked about famous people whose private photos were leaked online. Their app could stop that problem. Evan started to explain how he saw people using it. He imagined friends sending funny photos to each other. Photos that were just for fun, not for keeping forever. They agreed to work together. They would be partners. They would share everything 50-50ths. That means 50% for Evan and 50% for Reggie. They would vote on all decisions together. If they made money, they would share it equally. If they lost money, they would share that too. Evan would be the CEO, the boss of the company. Reggie would be the chief marketing officer. Marketing means telling people about the app and getting them to use it. But there was a problem. Neither Evan nor Reggie knew how to make an app. They needed someone who could code. Code is like the language of computers. You need code to make an app work. They made a list of people they knew from their fraternity. They thought about who knew computer science. They needed to find a coder fast. Reggie felt good. He had a great idea. Evan liked it. They were going to make it happen. He knew with Evan, they could do anything. He had hope again. Even though his classes were boring and he didn't have big plans, this new idea was exciting. Maybe this disappearing photo app could be something really big. Maybe it could change things. It all started with a simple wish. I wish photos could disappear. Chapter 5. Making Peekaboo, the first app. Evan and Reggie had a great idea. Photos that disappear. They called it a $1 million idea. But they needed to make it real. They wanted to create an app for phones. But there was a problem. Evan and Reggie did not know how to code. To code means to write instructions for computers. We need someone who can code, Evan said to Reggie. We need a coder to make our app. They thought about their friends from the fraternity Kappa Sigma. Who knew about computers? They remembered Bobby Murphy. Bobby was a friend from the fraternity. He was a little older than Evan and Reggie. Bobby was good at computer science. Evan often asked Bobby for help with coding when they were at Stanford. Evan called Bobby. Bobby, we have a great idea for an app. Evan said, it's about photos that disappear after a few seconds. We call it Peekaboo. We need someone to build it. Can you help us? Bobby was not sure at first. He had worked with Evan before on another website idea, Future Freshman. It didn't work out. Bobby was also busy working at a job, but Evan was very persuasive. Evan explained the idea again and again. He said this idea was different. It was new and exciting. Finally, Bobby agreed to help. Okay, I will try, Bobby said. But I don't know if it will work. Evan and Reggie were very happy. Now they had a team. Evan, the leader and for design. Reggie, for marketing and ideas. Bobby, the coder. They started to plan Peekaboo. They met in Evan's room. They talked about how the app should work. Evan, who studied product design, drew pictures of what the app should look like. He showed Bobby the designs. When you open the app, Evan explained, it should open straight to the camera. You can take a picture right away. Bobby listened and started to code. He worked very hard. He coded for many hours each day. Evan and Reggie helped too, but Bobby did most of the technical work. Reggie came up with the name for the app. Peekaboo. It was like the game Peekaboo. It was fun and playful. Evan designed a logo. It was a ghost with a smile and its tongue sticking out. They called the ghost Ghostface Chilla. Evan made the logo yellow to make it stand out. They decided to make the app only for iPhones at first. iPhones were popular, and it was easier to start with just one type of phone. They made the app simple. Here's how Peekaboo worked. Open the app, and the camera is ready. Take a photo. Set a timer for how long the photo will show, from 1 to 10 seconds. Choose friends to send the photo to. Friends open the photo. It shows for a few seconds and then disappears. The first version of Peekaboo was not perfect. It was a bit rough, like a first try. The buttons were big and square. The screen looked a little crowded. But it worked. You could take a photo and send it, and it would disappear. Evan, Reggie, and Bobby were excited. They had a working app. They had made Peekaboo in just a few weeks. They worked hard and fast. They wanted to show it to people and see what they thought. They hoped people would like their new app. They dreamed that Peekaboo could become something big. Chapter 6. Problems in the team. Now, Evan, Reggie, and Bobby were working hard on Peekaboo. They were at Evan's dad's house in Los Angeles. They called it the Startup How 5. It was their work home. Evan was the leader. He was excited and full of ideas. He talked about how Peekaboo should look and work. He wanted it to be cool and easy to use. Bobby was the coder. He was very good at computers. He worked for many hours each day, writing code for the app. He made Evan's ideas real. Reggie was different. He was also important, but he helped in other ways. He thought about marketing. He tried to tell people about Peekaboo. He also made the rules for using Peekaboo, like the terms of service. He helped with the logo, too. Reggie had the first idea for the app, so he was important. But Reggie liked to go out at night. Los Angeles was fun, and he was young. He went to parties and stayed out late. Evan and Bobby worked all the time. They did not go out as much. Evan and Bobby started to feel like they were working harder than Reggie. They were in the kitchen of the startup How 5 a lot, working on computers. Reggie was often out, or he was sleeping in the morning. Evan started to get angry. He talked to Bobby about it. Reggie is not doing enough, Evan said. We are doing all the work. Bobby agreed. He was also working very hard on the code. One night, they all went out to celebrate. They had finished a new part of Peekaboo. They went for dinner. Later, back at the startup How 5, Evan and Reggie started to argue. They had been drinking. Evan was angry about Reggie not working hard enough. What are you doing? Evan asked Reggie. You are not helping us. Reggie got angry too. I am helping, he said. I had the idea. I am doing marketing. Evan said, marketing is not enough. We need you to work harder. They argued more and more. Reggie was upset. He went upstairs to his room, but he could still hear Evan and Bobby talking downstairs in the kitchen. He stopped on the stairs. He listened. He heard Evan say, maybe we should get rid of Reggie. Reggie felt bad. He felt like Evan and Bobby did not want him in the team anymore. He felt betrayed. It was his idea. He wrote down in his notebook, lawsuit possible. He thought about taking Evan and Bobby to court. The next morning, everyone was tired after the fight, but they talked again. They were friends. They said sorry to each other. They decided to forget the fight and keep working on Peekaboo. For now, things were okay again. But the problem was still there. Evan and Bobby were working very hard, and they felt Reggie was not. This problem would come back later. Chapter 7. Peekaboo doesn't work. Evan, Reggie, and Bobby finished making Peekaboo. It was their first app. They were excited. They thought many people would like it. Peekaboo was an app for iPhones. When you opened it, the camera was ready. You could take a photo. You could set a timer for 1 to 10 seconds. Then you sent the photo to friends on Peekaboo. The photo would disappear after the timer. They wanted people to use Peekaboo. Evan wrote a short message about the app. He sent the message to his friends at Kappa Sigma fraternity. He thought they would tell their friends. He hoped Peekaboo would become very popular, like Facebook or Instagram. Evan used a tool called Flurry. Flurry could show him how many people downloaded Peekaboo. It could show how often people used it. Evan waited to see big numbers, but nothing happened. Not many people downloaded Peekaboo. The fraternity brothers tried it. They sent funny photos to each other. They thought it was okay because their friend Evan made it, but they were not sure what it was for. It was just a toy, not something important. Evan wanted more people to use Peekaboo. He entered a class called Design and Business Factors. He used Peekaboo for his class project. He made a presentation. He showed Peekaboo to other students, teachers, and business people from Silicon Valley. Evan was confident. He told them that not all photos need to last forever. He said people would have fun sending pictures that disappear. The people in class did not like Peekaboo. They asked, why would anyone use this app? Some said, this is a dumb idea. One business person said Peekaboo should make photos last forever and work with a store. The teacher's assistant asked Evan if Peekaboo was just for sending naked photos. Evan was disappointed. It was the third time his ideas did not work. First, future freshmen failed. Then, his fraternity kicked him out. Now, Peekaboo was not popular either. But Evan did not give up. He told Reggie and Bobby that people liked Peekaboo in class. This was not really true, but Evan wanted them to keep working on it. He, Reggie, and Bobby liked Peekaboo. They thought it was fun to use. They believed people would want to send photos that disappear. Maybe not for naked photos, but for other reasons too. They decided to keep going. They would work on Peekaboo in the summer. They would go to Evan's dad's house in Los Angeles. They would try to make Peekaboo popular. Reggie was excited. He thought with Evan they could make it work. Chapter 8. New Name. Snapchat. Peekaboo was not popular. Evan, Reggie, and Bobby were sad. Their app did not become a big hit like they hoped. They had worked hard, but not many people used Peekaboo. It was a failure. But Evan and Bobby did not give up. They still thought the idea of disappearing photos was good. They knew they needed to make some changes. One big problem came up. They got a letter. It was from a company that made photo books. The company was also called Peekaboo. They said Evan, Reggie, and Bobby could not use the name Peekaboo for their app. They had to change the name. This was another problem. But maybe it was also a chance to start fresh. They needed a name that was fun and easy to remember, just like Peekaboo. But it also needed to tell people what the app did. They talked about names. They wanted something that showed you could send photos quickly, like a snap, and you could chat with your friends. They put these ideas together and came up with a new name, Snapchat. Snapchat. It sounded good. It was fun and playful, like Peekaboo. But it also told people what the app was for, sending photos and chatting. They all agreed. Peekaboo was gone. Now it was Snapchat. On the 26th of September 2011, Evan and Bobby launched the app again with the new name, Snapchat. They now say the 26th of September is the day Snapchat was born. It was a new beginning. After launching Snapchat, Bobby moved to San Francisco. He needed to get a job to pay for rent. He started working for a small company that made apps for iPads. It was called Revel Systems. Bobby worked on coding for them, but he still worked on Snapchat in his free time. He believed in Snapchat too. Reggie moved into a house on campus. He was going to focus on his classes. He felt sad about what happened with Peekaboo and Evan. He was not working on Snapchat anymore. He was bummed. But Evan and Bobby were still excited. They watched to see if people would download Snapchat. They hoped this time it would be different. They had a new name. They had learned from their mistakes with Peekaboo. They were ready to try again. They were ready to make Snapchat work. They were determined. Chapter 9. Getting the first users. Peekaboo was now Snapchat. Evan and Bobby had changed the name. They had a new app, but not many people used it. It was not popular. Evan and Bobby knew Snapchat was good. People who used it liked it a lot. They used it every day. But not enough people knew about it. Evan and Bobby needed to get more users. They wanted to get 10,000 people to use Snapchat every day. If they did, they thought investors would give them money. But they were far away from 10,000 users. Snapchat was social. It was about sharing with friends. Evan and Bobby knew if they could get a few people to really love Snapchat, those people would tell their friends. Then, maybe Snapchat would grow. It could spread quickly. So, Evan and Bobby started to show Snapchat to people one by one. They met people and said, "Look at this app." They showed them how to use it. They explained why it was fun. Sometimes, they even downloaded the app for people. They wanted people to try it. Evan tried different things to get users. He went to a shopping mall. He made flyers for Snapchat. He walked up to people and asked, "Hello, do you want to send a picture that disappears?" Most people said, "Number." It was hard. Evan was in a class called Silicon Valley Meets Wall Street. One day, before the teacher came, Evan asked everyone in the class to download Snapchat. He wanted them to try it. On the Stanford campus, people knew about Evan's app. That's what they called Snapchat, but not in a good way. Some people laughed at it. They thought it was just for sexting. They didn't understand it. But because Evan was a big personality on campus, people knew about Snapchat. Even if they made fun of it, they knew it existed. Then, something unexpected happened. Evan looked at the numbers for Snapchat users. He used a tool called Flurry to see who was using the app. He saw new users in Orange County, California, and they were using Snapchat a lot between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. That was school time. Evan's mother had told his young cousin about Snapchat. His cousin was in high school. She and her friends downloaded Snapchat on their school iPads. The school iPads blocked Facebook, so they used Snapchat instead. They used it to pass notes in class, like sending secret messages. High school students in Orange County started to use Snapchat a lot. Then, other high schools in Los Angeles started using it too. It grew in small groups, school by school. Then, Christmas came. Many teenagers got iPhones with front cameras for Christmas. Front cameras were good for selfies. Teenagers started taking selfies and sending them to each other on Snapchat. They had conversations using pictures of their faces. From December to January, Snapchat's users grew a lot. It grew 10 times bigger, from about 2,000 daily users to more than 20,000 daily users. It was amazing growth. Snapchat was not just for passing notes anymore. It became a way to talk to friends. It became a communication tool. It was more than just a silly app. It was becoming something real. Chapter 10. Teenagers get Snapchat. In 2011, Snapchat was still a small app. Only a few people used it. Evan and Bobby were happy some people liked it, but they wanted more users. They needed many more people to use Snapchat every day. Then, something interesting happened. Teenagers started to use Snapchat. It began in high schools in California. Evan's mom told her cousin about Snapchat. Her cousin was in high school. She and her friends downloaded the app. They used iPads at school. These iPads did not allow Facebook, but they could use Snapchat. Teenagers found a new way to use Snapchat. They used it to pass notes in class. In class, students are often bored. They want to talk to their friends, but teachers don't want them to talk. With Snapchat, they could send pictures to each other. The pictures disappeared after a few seconds. It was like passing notes, but with photos, and the teacher could not see the notes later. This was fun for teenagers. It was a secret way to talk in class. They could send silly pictures of their faces. They could send pictures of things in class. It was a new way to be a little bit naughty in class without getting into big trouble. Word of mouth spread quickly in schools. One student told another. Friends showed friends how to use Snapchat. It was a bit confusing at first, but teenagers are good at learning new apps. They showed each other how to use all the features. It became cool to know how to use Snapchat. It was a teenager thing. Why did teenagers like Snapchat so much? There were a few reasons. First, it was different from Facebook. Facebook was becoming for old people. Parents and grandparents were on Facebook. Teenagers wanted something for themselves. Snapchat felt new and fresh. Second, Snapchat felt more private. Photos disappeared. It was not like Facebook where everything stays forever. Teenagers could be silly and not worry too much. They could send funny faces or messy photos. It did not have to be perfect, like on Instagram. Snapchat was more relaxed and real. Third, Snapchat was fun. It was a new way to talk to friends. It was faster than texting. It was more visual than just words. You could see what your friend was doing right now. It felt more like really talking to someone. Because of these reasons, Snapchat became very popular in high schools. From fall 2011 to spring 2012, the number of users grew very fast. Before, Snapchat had only a few thousand people using it every day. But with teenagers joining, the number jumped up. In a few months, Snapchat had over 100,000 users every day. Evan and Bobby were very happy. They could see that teenagers love Snapchat. They had found a group of people who really wanted to use their app. This was a big change. Snapchat was not just a toy anymore. It was becoming something big. Teenagers were showing the world that disappearing photos were not silly at all. They were the future. Chapter 11: Server Costs and First Funding. Snapchat was getting very popular. More and more people used it every day. This was good news, but it also made a new problem. Snapchat needed computers to work. These computers are called servers. Servers store all the photos and videos. They send the photos and videos to friends. More users means more photos and videos. More photos and videos mean bigger and more expensive servers. Evan and Bobby were paying for these servers themselves. At first, it was okay. But now, it was costing a lot of money. Every month, they had to pay about $5,000. And the cost was getting bigger every month as more people joined Snapchat. They needed to find a way to pay for these servers. Evan talked to his old professor, Peter Wendell. Wendell knew a lot about business. Evan explained the problem. Snapchat is growing fast, but it costs a lot of money for the servers. Wendell said, "You need to get money from investors. Investors are people or companies that give money to new businesses. This money helps the business grow." Evan was worried. "But I don't want to lose control of Snapchat," he said. "I don't want to work for someone else." Evan wanted to be his own boss. Peter Wendell understood. He said, "Let me introduce you to some people." Wendell helped Evan meet people at Google Ventures. Google Ventures is a company that invests money in new businesses. This was the idea of seed funding. Seed funding is like planting a seed. It's a small amount of money to help a new business start to grow. Evan started meeting with investors. He went to big investor companies like Sequoia Capital and Benchmark Partners. He told them about Snapchat. He showed them how many people were using it. But many investors said no. They didn't understand Snapchat. Some thought it was just for sending silly photos. Some thought it was only for sexting. They didn't see how Snapchat could become a big company. One famous investor, Chris Sacca, even said no to meeting Evan at all. Then, something changed. Barry Eggers, an investor at Lightspeed Venture Partners, heard about Snapchat. His daughter, Natalie, used Snapchat with her friends. Natalie told her dad, "Snapchat is very popular at school. Everyone uses it." Barry Eggers told his partner, Jeremy Liu, about Snapchat. Jeremy Liu decided to meet Evan. Evan went to meet Liu and told him about Snapchat. He showed Liu the numbers. He showed him how many people use Snapchat every day. He used a tool called Flurry to show the data. Jeremy Liu looked at the numbers. He saw that many people were using Snapchat every day. The numbers were very good. Jeremy Liu understood. He saw that Snapchat was growing very fast. He told his partners at Lightspeed, "We need to invest in Snapchat." Lightspeed decided to give Snapchat seed funding. They invested $485,000. This money valued Snapchat at $4.25 million. Barry Eggers also helped St. Francis High School, his daughter's school, to invest $15,000 in Snapchat. Evan was very happy. Snapchat had money. They could pay for the servers. They could hire more people. And they had a smart investor and advisor in Jeremy Liu. It was a big step for Snapchat. But even with this good news, there was a small problem. Evan and Jeremy Liu's relationship would not always be easy. This first funding was just the beginning of a long and sometimes difficult journey for Snapchat. Chapter 12: Facebook offers billions. Snapchat was getting very popular. Many people, especially young people, used it every day. Facebook saw this. Facebook is a very big company. It is the biggest social media company in the world. Mark Zuckerberg is the boss of Facebook. He is a very famous and powerful man in the tech world. Mark Zuckerberg watched Snapchat. He saw that many young people liked it more than Facebook. He saw that Snapchat was growing very fast. Facebook wanted to be the best social media company for everyone, including young people. Zuckerberg thought about Snapchat. He thought about how to make Facebook better. He also thought about buying Snapchat. If Facebook bought Snapchat, they would have the popular app for young people. It would be good for Facebook. So, Mark Zuckerberg called Evan Spiegel. He wanted to talk about Snapchat. He emailed Evan and said he was interested in Snapchat and wanted to meet. Evan was cool. He did not say yes right away. He was busy. He told Zuckerberg to come to him in Los Angeles. Evan was not going to go to Facebook in Silicon Valley. Finally, they met in Los Angeles. It was a secret meeting. They met in a private place. Zuckerberg wanted to know everything about Snapchat. He asked Evan and Bobby many questions. He wanted to understand why Snapchat was so popular. He asked about their plans for the future. Then, Zuckerberg made an offer. He said Facebook wanted to buy Snapchat. He offered a lot of money. $3 billion. $3 billion is a huge amount of money. It is $1,000 million times 3. It's very, very big. Zuckerberg said if Evan and Bobby sold Snapchat to Facebook, they would become very rich. They would be millionaires very quickly. He said they could still run Snapchat, but with Facebook's help. Facebook had lots of money and lots of users. Facebook could help Snapchat grow even faster. He showed them how Instagram, another photo app that Facebook bought, had grown very fast after Facebook bought it. Zuckerberg wanted Evan and Bobby to think about it. He gave them time. He wanted them to say yes to his offer. Many people thought this was a very good offer. $3 billion was a lot of money for a young company like Snapchat. For Evan and Bobby, who were still young men, it was life-changing money. They could become very rich and not have to work again if they didn't want to. But Evan and Bobby had to decide. Should they take the money and sell Snapchat to Facebook? Or should they say no and keep building Snapchat on their own? It was a very big decision. The biggest decision of their lives so far. What would they do? Chapter 13. Turning down the $1 billion. Facebook wanted to buy Snapchat. They offered a lot of money, $3 billion. For many people, this is more money than they can imagine. It was a very big offer for Evan and Bobby. Evan and Bobby were young. They were only in their early 20s. $3 billion could change their lives completely. They could become very rich very fast. Most people would say yes right away to such a huge amount of money. But Evan and Bobby were not like most people. They had built Snapchat from a simple idea. It was their company. It was like their baby. They had worked very hard for it. They believed in Snapchat very much. They talked a lot about Facebook's offer. It was a difficult decision. On one hand, $3 billion was a lot of money. If they sold Snapchat to Facebook, they would be rich. They wouldn't have to worry about money anymore. Also, Facebook was a very big company. Facebook had lots of resources. They could help Snapchat grow even bigger, even faster. On the other hand, if they sold Snapchat, it would not be their company anymore. They would work for Facebook. They would not be the boss. They liked being in charge. They had their own ideas for Snapchat. They had a vision for the future. They wanted to make Snapchat even better and bigger on their own. Evan especially did not want to work for someone else. He had always said, "I'm not going to work for someone else." He wanted to be his own boss. He wanted to decide what to do with Snapchat. Bobby was quieter. He listened to Evan. He also believed in Snapchat. He thought they could do great things if they stayed independent. They thought about other things too. If they sold Snapchat, maybe they would never have another idea like this again. This was a special idea. It was new and different. It was becoming very popular. Maybe it could be even bigger than Facebook one day. They also thought about what would happen if they said no to Facebook. It was a big risk. Maybe Snapchat would not be successful on its own. Maybe they would make mistakes. Maybe another company would make a better app. Maybe people would stop using Snapchat. Then, they would lose the chance to get $3 billion. But Evan and Bobby felt something strong inside them. They felt that Snapchat was special. They felt that it was more than just an app for disappearing photos. It was a new way for people to talk and share moments. They believed it could be very important. After thinking for a long time, Evan and Bobby made their decision. They said no to Facebook. They turned down $3 billion. It was a very brave decision. Many people were surprised. Some people thought they were crazy. Why would they say no to so much money? But Evan and Bobby believed in themselves and in Snapchat. They wanted to control their own future. They wanted to build their company their way. Saying no to Facebook was a big moment for Snapchat. It showed they were serious. It showed they had big dreams. It was just the start of their journey to make Snapchat even bigger than anyone could imagine. Chapter 14. New feature, Stories. Snapchat was becoming more popular. People loved to send photos that disappeared. But Evan and Bobby wanted to make Snapchat even better. They listened to what people said. Users wanted to send messages to groups of friends. At first, Evan thought about group messages. Like in text messages, you can make a group and send one message to everyone. But Evan was worried. He thought group messages could change Snapchat in a bad way. Snapchat was special because it was personal. Friends sent photos just to each other. If everyone sent photos to big groups all the time, maybe it would not be so special. Evan and his team thought about a different idea. Not group messages, but something new. They wanted to make a new way to share with many friends, but still keep Snapchat fun and easy. Evan thought about Facebook. Facebook had a news feed. People could see what all their friends were doing in the news feed. But Facebook was changing. People posted less funny and silly things. They only posted good photos. Photos that looked perfect. People wanted likes on Facebook. It was becoming stressful. Evan did not want Snapchat to be like that. He wanted Snapchat to be fun and relaxed. He wanted people to share real moments, not perfect photos. He wanted something different from the Facebook news feed. So Evan and his team made a new feature called Stories. Stories were different from Snapchat messages. Messages were sent to one friend. Stories were for all your friends. With Stories, you could take a photo or video, then you could add it to your story. Your story was like a slideshow. All your friends could watch your story. They could see all the photos and videos in your story. But stories were not forever. Stories disappeared after 24 hours. This was new. On Facebook, everything stayed forever. On Instagram, photos stayed forever. But on Snapchat Stories, photos and videos disappeared after one day. This made it different. This made it fun. Because stories disappeared, people felt more free. They did not need to post perfect photos. They could post silly videos. They could post many photos and videos in one day. It was okay if they were not perfect, because they would disappear soon. Stories also did not have likes or comments. On Facebook and Instagram, people wanted to get many likes. On Snapchat Stories, there were no likes. This made it more relaxed. People did not need to worry about getting likes. They could just share for fun. To watch a story, you just tapped on your friend's name. Then you could see all the photos and videos in their story. You could tap the screen to see the next photo or video. If you did not like a story, you could just tap to go to the next story. Evan and his team worked on Stories for almost a year. They wanted to make it perfect. They knew it was a big change for Snapchat. They were worried if people would like it, but they believed it was a good idea. They believed it would make Snapchat even better. In October 2013, Snapchat launched Stories. At first, not everyone used Stories. It was new. People had to learn how to use it. But slowly, people started to use Stories more and more. They liked to share their day with friends. They liked to watch their friends' stories. Stories became very popular. It changed Snapchat. Snapchat was not just for sending disappearing photos. It was now also for sharing your day with friends and a story. Stories made Snapchat more than just a messaging app. It was becoming a new kind of social media. It was becoming a new way for people to connect and share their lives. Chapter 15. Snapchat becomes a big company. IPO. Snapchat was not a small app anymore. It was used by millions of people every day. It was famous all over the world. Evan and Bobby's idea had become very, very big. It was time for Snapchat to become a public company. This is called an IPO, Initial Public Offering. It means that anyone can buy shares in the company on the stock market. For Snapchat, the IPO was a very important day. It was like a graduation day for a student after many years of school. It showed that Snapchat was successful and strong. It was a big step for the future. The day was the 2nd of March, 2017. The place was the New York Stock Exchange in New York City. This is a very famous place for big companies. Evan and Bobby went there with their team. They wore blue suits and smiled a lot. A big yellow screen showed the name of the company, Snap Inc. This was the new name for the company behind Snapchat. The logo of Snapchat, the little white ghost, was everywhere. It was a special day for Snapchat. Evan and Bobby stood on a balcony with the president of the stock exchange, Thomas Farley. Farley took a selfie with them using Snapchat. Everyone laughed and cheered. Miranda Kerr, Evan's fiancée, was there too. She was very happy for Evan. Early Snapchat employees and important people from the company were also there to celebrate. Then, Evan and Bobby together pressed a big button. A loud bell rang out. This bell meant the day's trading was starting. The people in the stock exchange cheered very loudly. They were happy for Snapchat. Evan and Bobby smiled and looked at each other. Bobby patted Evan on the back. It was really happening. Snapchat was going public. The price for one share of Snapchat stock was set at $17. But when trading started, the price quickly went up to $24. Snapchat's chief financial officer, Drew Valero, was surprised. He said, "That's crazy." The stock price kept going up. After the bell, Evan, Bobby, Miranda, and Imran Khan, another important person at Snapchat, went to Goldman Sachs, a big bank. When Snapchat's stock price jumped to $24, the people at Goldman Sachs cheered loudly too. By the end of the day, the stock price was $24.48. It was up 44%. Snapchat as a company was worth $34 billion. This was as much as big companies like Marriott Hotels and Target stores. Evan and Bobby became very rich. Evan was worth more than $6 billion. Bobby was worth more than $5 billion. This was a lot of money. It was amazing how much value Snapchat had created in just a few years. Many people did not understand Snapchat. They thought it was just for teenagers sending silly photos. A cartoon in a magazine showed a man whose head exploded because he tried to understand Snapchat. It was hard for older people to understand. Evan tried to explain Snapchat. He made a video called, "What is Snapchat?" In the video, he used paper slides to explain the app, but it was still hard for some people to understand. Snapchat was different. It was made for people who already used it. It was not easy for new users. But this made it special. Users showed their friends how to use it in person. It was like a secret club. This helped Snapchat grow. Evan and Bobby were very private. They did not want everyone to know everything about Snapchat. They kept secrets. This made Snapchat mysterious and cool. But some people thought Snapchat was not serious because it was for young people and was confusing. When Snapchat was going public, Evan and Bobby had to explain the company to investors. These investors were often older people who didn't use Snapchat. Evan and Bobby had to show them that Snapchat was more than just a silly app. They had to show them that it was the future of communication. To understand Snapchat, you needed to understand Evan Spiegel. He and Snapchat were the same thing. To know Snapchat, you had to know Evan and how he thought. The story of Snapchat is the story of Evan. The IPO was a big moment, but Evan knew it was just a step. The night before the IPO, he sent an email to all Snapchat employees. He said the IPO was just a milestone. There was still much work to do. The next day, at Snapchat headquarters in Venice, California, employees celebrated with donuts and champagne. But then, they went back to work. They knew the IPO was not the end. It was just the beginning for Snapchat. They had more to do, more to create, and more to share with the world. Conclusion. Snapchat's story is very interesting. It started with a simple idea: photos that disappear. Many people thought it was a silly idea. But Evan and Bobby believed in it. They worked very hard. They said no to a lot of money. Facebook offered them $1 billion. Most people would say yes. But Evan and Bobby said no. It was a big risk. But they wanted to build their own company. They thought Snapchat could be something really big, bigger than just $1 billion. Saying no was important. It was the start of something even bigger for Snapchat. Evan and Bobby kept working. They made new things for Snapchat, like stories and lenses. These new things made Snapchat more fun and useful. More and more people started to use it, especially young people. Snapchat became very popular. It changed how people talk to each other online. People started to use photos and videos to chat, not just words. Snapchat showed that you can have fun and be yourself online, without everything being permanent. The story of Snapchat shows that a simple idea, hard work, and believing in yourself can make something amazing. It shows that sometimes saying no to a lot of money can be the right thing to do. Snapchat's journey is not finished. The future of Snapchat is still being written. Will it stay popular? What new things will they create? It will be interesting to see what happens next for Snapchat.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.